Hello, everybody, and welcome to this year's Osu Mania 4K World Cup Qualifier Showcase. My name is Dynascape, and we are live in Toronto with a very special guest, my co-commentator, Mint.
Oh wow, I can't believe we're in Toronto and such. Well, today we're going to be showcasing the qualifiers this year, and this is going to be our very first stream for 4K Mania World Cup 2024. It's going to be a very exciting year. We have lots of exciting things planned, and today you'll be getting a little bit of a sneak peek of what we've been working on, and you guys are going to be, of course, let's recap the rules for the qualifiers. Every team will be playing each qualifying map twice. Your best score will be taken between each of the picks and each of the maps, and you will be sorted into. You will be given the ranks for each of the maps, and the lowest weighted average rank will have the higher seed, and then the top 32 will be put into the bracket. So that's just how it's gonna work. But let's see what the maps are gonna look like, the maps that the teams are gonna play. So I guess we can jump right into it.
Yeah, for sure. And with stage 1, we have Freak Tech Map by Orca. This is the SV map, and well, I'm no SV person, but Orca was gracious enough to send a lot of different notes that we can include in this commentary. So this map, as you can first find out, is that it's pretty high in terms of star rating for an SV map, but honestly, usually star rating doesn't matter. It's just a lot of jump shows are included in later on into the map. But the map is very, very compartmentalized, and sections that are memo don't really bleed over into the reading section. So it's either a reading section or it's a memo section. It's not really a mixture of both most of the time in this map.
Yeah, and you'll see a lot of these slow jams. We just passed through a memo section. That memo section has a lot of I don't know how to describe it. It's like if you tap like how it is on the screen, like just reading it, you're gonna end up actually hitting some like early judgments, like 50s and stuff. So you're gonna want to practice that section a lot.
Yeah, definitely a lot of studying needed. The song itself definitely has a lot of strange rhythms. However, it's not very it's not super weird. They're mostly all 16ths or triplets, so no like quadruplet stuffs or anything like that. The memo sections are definitely repetitive for sure, and especially halfway into it when you get more into the memo, you can definitely tell. And there's a lot of I guess markers with the outlines to really let you know what kind of patterns are coming up.
Yeah, and that was another memo section there. So just remember that it does happen twice. I do think there are no differences between those two sections, so once you learn one of them, you'll learn both of them. So that does make things a little bit easier on the mind, I would say. Also allows you to have more double the practice when you play the map. So, and yeah, it does look like the map is going to close out with some light teleports, and yeah, that's stage 1. So, yeah, that's the SE qualifier. Let's just jump right into our first Rice qualifier. It is going to be Pastel. This is mapped by Mystic Eyes and Alexire. This is a collab. So I'm hoping that we'll be seeing this like contrast with last year's qualifiers. In particular, I do want to say that this is very, very different from last year's stage 2. As you can already see, there's a lot of these sorts of like little bursts and mini jacks. It's very different, sort of, even like just vibes-wise. Like it's very different from Ultra Blazers from last year.
Yeah, and I'd say definitely with these bursts to start off, They get as fast as 112s, but you have to also realize that there are a lot of jacks interspersed with it as well to make it really a very rice tucky map at the start. I should also mention that just like last year and previous years, there are 8 stages, so this is going to be the second one out of 8. This is Rice 1.
Yeah, and we're gonna get into this section with the one-handed trills. These are actually, I mean, they look kind of deceiving. Like those snaps are a little bit weird, but it's definitely like not as bad as you might think just looking at it, because it's actually pretty comfortable, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, after you pass through this super trilly section halfway into the map, you do get a very long build-up, I'd say. I think this goes on from about 1/2 to about 3/4 through the map, where it's very, very light. You know, if you break, you can get combo. If you don't have great accuracy, you can that up. Then soon the density starts to kick in a little bit more, and then we get into this saxophone solo, and the first part of it is super, super flowy. You'll see a lot of streams used. And then obviously as the saxophone hits those high notes, it gets very, very streamy to match that intensity. But then you'll see right after that, to close off the map, it's essentially just all jacks.
Yeah, we're gonna have this jack section coming right up here. And honestly, it's not too bad, but like, it's very... Is it easy to choke? I think it's easy to choke.
I'd say it's easy to choke.
It's probably not too bad for a lot of people playing, I would say. But yeah, this map does pull its punches, and it's got everything. So yeah, so that's our Rice 1 qualifier stage 2, and we're gonna get into stage 3 routing.
Yeah, and this one was made by you, so obviously I will try to let you, take the reins and kind of explain your process through this map, what to watch out for, the different parts and intricacies.
This map is it's something. It's got these like one-handed trills, these like shields, mini jacks, lots. It's got everything. So, but it's mostly a shield-based pick, I would say. It's got a lot of bursts. We see these bursts coming in. But yeah, I think the BPM is like, is it 140?
144,
yeah. 144. So it's not too bad, the shields.
What would you say is the thing to watch out for most in this map?
A lot of people have pointed out the really tricky patterns. I think like some of them are quite isolated, like particularly the long jacks, there's one. I would say also the one-handed trills, there's a lot of those in here as well.
Yeah, I think this map definitely incorporates the Rice difficulty with the Ellen difficulty pretty well. Definitely a mixture of both in a lot of these sections where you do have both Rice and Ellen difficulties, or at least like very quick transitions between the two as well.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna get right into this section with a lot of these little one-handed gallop sort of trilly patterns. And yeah, pretty much closes off on that. We're gonna get right into like a recap section at the end here, going back to the beginning.
Yeah, and that's definitely, it's definitely a hybrid. There's only going to be 2 in this qualifier pool, so the next
Watch
one's
out for
going
the
to be
end.
later. But yeah, definitely watch out for the end. You have the anchored notes in the 4th column into the trill to end it. So gotta watch out for that.
Yeah, I've seen some people miss on that, and that was their only miss. But I mean, you know what they say, when in
Yep,
WC.
one in MWC. So that's gonna do it for stage 3. Can go right on ahead into stage 4. This is going to be the LN coordination pick, and this is going to be Decadence mapped by Chris Erlien.
There's quite a lot to say about this, especially in context of comparing it to last year's End of Fairy Tale by Reveal, which was the qualifier for last year, the same category, LN coordination. This is slower, and it's also, I would say, less dense. But in particular, I think the difficulty of this comes mostly from, I guess, like being able to have that sort of finger independence where you're able to coordinate certain releases, as well as like introducing polyrhythms, which I think we're gonna kind of see a theme of in this MWC. So that's cool.
And I think this map does feature kind of like a lot of not necessarily BPM switch ups, but rather like different, like you said, like polyrhythms, where sometimes the the speed at which you're playing drastically changes within a couple of notes. You really have to do like watch out for that. One in particular coming up is a very speedy guitar riff about halfway into the map, and that's gonna go on for about a quarter of the map in, and that's very tough to follow because you go with this very uh, LN coordination heavy portion where you're holding down notes for a long period of time into something very speedy and still LN coordination, but just in a different way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it is really like segmented. Like there's these very different sections that have like different focuses, which is pretty nice, I would say. And here we go into the synth solo. It's got these. It does get like easier in terms of like just coordinating the patterns, but the rhythms are a bit tricky. So that is kind of where the difficulty of this part lies, I would say. So it does balance out, but it is something to watch out for if you're only focusing on the coordination aspect of this chart. You do still have some things to watch out for during it, and that was just one of the examples.
And I believe just to end off, this is kind of like another, I guess, rehash of the first uh, little section that we had in the beginning of the map. But, still very tough. And honestly, this map is pretty long, especially for LN coordination. It's about 2 minutes 54 seconds. It's very active throughout. You don't really get a lot of breaks.
Yeah,
So
no breaks here. Pretty
definitely
solid.
kind of like a stamina contester in terms of, the other LN maps.
For sure. Yeah, and we're getting a closeout here. Alright, and that is our LN coordination pick. That was our first LN, and we're gonna jump straight into our second LN, which is stage 5. This is Super Enthusiastic, map by Tope Daddy. This is our LN density pick, so it's going to be density. You'll recognize pretty like early off that we have a lot of these sort of like inverse kind of patterns. And yeah, it's basically like it's all about reading, it's all about accuracy, it's all about density. So we're here, and yeah, it's pretty similar to last year's Ultra Happy Bazooka, Ultra Happy Miracle Bazooka. I would say. I think it's a little bit harder. Playtesters were pretty split on that actually. Um, some people said it was harder, some people said it was easier. But yeah, I guess we'll see how that works out for people.
Yeah, and at least for this one, it's definitely very short and sweet, only about 2 minutes long. And BPM wise, which is something that a lot of people look at, first thing what they look at when they see an LN density map, is going to be about 208. That lines up around, I guess, pre-semifinals level of last year's MWC. So definitely still very much a challenge for many other players. I'd have to assume that a lot of countries, when it comes to LN, can't really field 3 super great players that are just like super standout at LN to really demolish the qualifier pool. So it's definitely going to be, I think, at least one of those maps in the pool that like really separate a lot of teams.
Yeah, and I will say that this doesn't really hit the mark for semifinal, just purely based on like the actual difficulty of the map, even if the BPM is a little high. I would say this is probably around quarterfinals, if I had to guess. But at the very least, it is between quarters and semis, so that is definitely something to watch out for.
And here we go with this funky little section where you kind of have like those starts and stops. You're kind of attacked with different patterns with each little, I guess, measure. And then just to close it off, just a very simple patterns. Jump drill there, and then end it off on a quad. Don't forget that last quad.
Yep.
That's gonna do it for the LN density pick. Stage 5, super
And that's
enthusiastic.
all of the LNs in this qualifier round. Just so we're clear, we have that's 2 LN maps. We've shown one hybrid already, so we're going to get into the second and last hybrid. This is going to be Higitsune no Mai. This is mapped by Yurin and Jinzi Dongshan. This is a collab. This is a very, very interesting one.
Yeah, I think for this one, the main thing that you will notice, in comparison to routing at least, is this map features a lot of segmented difficulty with the LN and with the rice. So you'll have, a very isolated LN section, and then you'll have a very hard rice section right after it. And a lot of the rice here is kind of deadly. The BPM is about 242. So some of these ending jacks is very, very quick. About what BPM is it?
The jacks?
Yeah, like the ones that we just passed.
Like 160?
Yeah, I think so, 160. So, I mean, very, very fast. And that's right. It's something like that, yeah. And it's right after you're doing 242 jump streams. So,
it's 180.
It is tough.
It's crazy. Yeah, those jacks are crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, we have this sort of like break section in the middle here. It is a like pretty short song, as natural coming from a arcade rhythm game, so it shouldn't be too bad to handle, I would say. I think the biggest thing to watch out for is definitely the right. LN is a bit more straightforward, I'd say. And this also does like contrast very well with the other hybrid, which is more of a mixed bag just throughout. This is very like straightforward. It's either like LN or rice. There's very little in between. Yeah, I mean that's not really much else to say. Like we've already seen all the funny patterns and such. We're back to another barrage of rice patterns here. This is like sort of a jump streamy section with some bursts. Oh, we got this really cool anchor here. Yeah, and this is it's like, yeah, we're gonna get into the ending.
Definitely a toughie, especially I think
yeah,
some of the rice patterns
a lot of
very
people
scary.
had trouble with this one for sure. This is like a lot of the playtesters rather. And yeah, that's our second and also our last hybrid in the qualifier pool. So we have two more rice maps. We're gonna look at rice 2 right now. This is going to be our jump stream pick. And this is Undead Sin, mapped by Miyauri Chesu. And how would you describe this pick?
Definitely very stamina focused. So this is parallel to Amin Kadagiri Generation from last year, which was your map. And I think the BPM was bumped up a little bit, at least in terms of like the jump stream, or maybe not.
No, the BPM actually went down a little bit.
I'm not. You're gonna have to fact check that later, but
yeah, I
anyways.
think Amin Kadagiri Generation was 250. This is 247. Yeah. But I would say that these patterns are. The map is definitely longer. It goes on for longer. There's the anchors and trills are quite difficult. But I would say this is actually arguably easier than Amin Kadagiri Generation because it is actually a little like there's no like interrupting patterns to the jump stream. It's all jump stream.
Yeah, it's definitely like in Kadagiri Generation. It kind of like messed up with the flow a little bit. I guess at some points. But this one is very, very much, jump stream centric. Portions are just like very pure, and then maybe sometimes you'll transition out with a jack. And obviously this is stamina focused, so this map being 3 minutes and 30 seconds long, there are a couple of breaks provided and definitely some slower sections, but it's definitely going to be a test of skill and your physicality, definitely like peak physicality for some of these plays.
For sure, and this really obviously, I think a lot of players can handle like 247 BPM jump streams, but this does go on for 3 minutes and a little bit more, like without breaks. So, and it's also very anchory. It's very trilly. So, the stamina component is not to be scoffed at here. This is actually like very, very like it is our stamina pick, and this does come close to what we will have in store for the stamina picks starting around semifinals. Although I think starting around semifinals, it will be probably harder than those. So that is definitely something to watch out for.
Yeah, so still in that range of, between quarterfinals and semifinals, like a lot of these maps are. So I mean, I'd say, you know, if you want to be one of those teams that are vying for that top 16 spot, you want to be an upper seed in this tournament. It is impertinent that you are lights out in every single map, including this one. You know, you really do need to have a rounded skill set, and even though this one is very much so like the most straightforward skill set in Jump Stream, it's just, you know, it provides that physicality, like Nick said, just like a lot of anchors, a lot of trills. Just, it's not too dense, but rather the patterning is very hard in exchange.
Yeah, and I mean, there's not really much to say. I think that the anchors do get a little bit longer here. This part is, I think, probably one of like the harder part of the map. The density cranks up a bit, and it does slow down here. So we're getting into the outro of the map.
Yeah, final little Jump Stream section, and you know, by now a lot of players, you know, should be pretty gassed, but you really do just have to push on for just that much longer. And this last section is very tough. You know, maybe we do get a couple of jacks here and there, and you know, the density is bumped up, but that is gonna do it for stage 7. That was Undead Sin by Miaurichesu, sorry, and that's gonna be second to last map for the qualifiers. The last one, stage 8, is going to be Hitogata.
If you guys were asking for a DZ map, this is it.
Yep.
We have it here. It's going to be very different from our previous year's Quasar Charge. You'll see the BPM is faster. It is more streamy, dumpy, and it's very. I would say it's very interesting. Like this map goes hard, I would say. And the thing is with this map is that the reason, like, a lot of people actually find this harder than Quasar Charge because it is not as straightforward, like the Jackie elements. It's not. It's very difficult to like autopilot, I would say.
Yeah, I think that with this map, you know, a lot of different dumping patterns are thrown at you, and I think the in between the notes it goes as much as 1/12, maybe even some 16ths here and there, but for the most part it's just very, very speedy. And I mean, you're looking at, you know, not this super dense pattern, but then you have such a variety of different kind of streams, like one-handed trills, two-handed trills, and then jacks as well.
Yeah, and we do sort of have like segmented sections here. We have this like sort of mini Jackie section, which is very interesting with sort of rotating patterns. There's vocal dump coming in. But I mean, yeah, this map is actually like, it's very, very. It's really fun in my opinion, and I think there's a lot to enjoy about it. But I think the main takeaway really is that this is not like a straightforward dump. There's a lot of things to watch out for, like in terms of like stop and go sort of feel that you have in this chart constantly. And I think that in itself is like there's really like a mental stamina sort of game that you have with this chart. And I think people who there are quite a few like things in this chart that really like especially that quad right there. You really have to like anticipate it in order to properly hit it, stuff like that.
Really do have to practice it until you're perfect, because like you said, you know, there's that mental stamina component. It's not as straightforward of a map as, you know, others. So really to sum it up is it's a lot more chokeable than other maps. So, you know, it's a good thing that you do get 2 tries for the qualifiers, but you just to make sure that every single note is.
Oh, we got a funny pattern coming out. This is a really good pattern right here. Yeah, and that will be everything for MWC 2024 qualifiers. Any last words?
Definitely good luck to all of the teams. Unfortunately, we don't have banners yet. That'll be available next week, so I can't tell you guys to all go and buy it, but do be ready for that next week after qualifiers has concluded. But as you said, that is all of the 8 maps for the Osumania 4K World Cup 2024 qualifier map pool. As always, teams need to schedule their qualifiers and then they'll get into their lobbies, go at it next weekend, and we'll see by next Sunday Who are the best 32 teams?
Yeah, we'll have the results in by next Sunday because the teams will all be playing over the weekend. And once we see that, we'll be showing the bracket reveal next week. Hopefully around the same time Sunday, maybe a little bit after. Let all the teams finish up. And then we will do the round of 32 showcase that same stream as well. But yeah, that'll be it for us. Is there anything else to say?
No, just again, good luck to all the teams. Min and
Good
I
luck,
have to
everyone.
go to Tim Hortons and try that out. So we will
Yeah,
catch you
we gotta
guys.
go to the Tim Hortons.
Yeah, and we will catch you guys
Yeah.
next week.
Bye.
It slipped right through my fingers. It slipped right through my